9 months of 2025 has already passed. 75% of the year is already behind you. And here's the painful truth. You've probably made hardly any progress or no way near the progress that you want to make on your goals this year. Even though January 1st, you sat there and swore, this is going to be my year, I'm going to make shit happen, but yet you fall short on your goals again. So that's the bad news out the way. What about the good news? The good news is you still have enough time to make a difference. 1 quarter is all it takes. Did you really think that you having a successful year was going to be predicated on every single month, everything was going to be going up, you was always going to be profitable, you'd never lose a funded account, life didn't happen to you? Of course these things are going to happen to you. But if your perspective on life is the only way I have a successful year is if most of the year goes right, absolutely false, rubbish, bullshit. Some of my most successful years, I've had average quarters, or half the year has felt like I've been banging my head against a brick wall. Like, this is the reality of entrepreneurship. This is the reality of becoming profitable. This is what you signed up for. But if you go into this next quarter thinking that I just haven't had a great year, and you create that same behavior, that same type of mindset, you then bring that into Q4, yeah, you're absolutely going to lose. But I'm going to talk to you today about how you can get the most out of this quarter, understanding why it's the most historic, profitable quarter of the year. So much can change in these last 90 days, but you need a plan, and I'm going to tell you what the plan is. But I want you to first imagine around the Christmas time, around the festive period, that you've actually ticked off some goals that you set on paper. It could be a trading account that you want to trade, could be a 100k FTMO, or that very first withdrawal where you see your monthly wage in just one profit split. I want you to imagine the feeling of being there. I'll tell you why most people never achieve their goals. They're not emotionally connected to them. You tell me how you're going to achieve a goal just by going, I want to make X amount of money. And you think you're just going to put some hours in every single day and it's just going to manifest. That's not how it works. From any walk of life that I've met a successful individual, there's one thing in common. They're emotionally connected to their goals. And if you can start to now visualize the feeling of what it would be like waking up on 22nd of December, realizing that you're now a 6-figure funded trader and what that feels like, how would you talk? How would you walk? What would you think like? What would your habits be like? What would your pre-warm-up routine look like? How would you be trading? How would people be looking at you? When you start getting emotionally connected to that, that'll fire a rocket up your ass. So it's just about getting emotionally connected to your goals. That's crucial. But what I want to show you something more. Chart work. How can we bridge the gap? What is the plan that's going to get you from where you are to where you need to be and where you should be coming into this year? Let's dig into it. So in order for you to get to where you want to be, fundamentally, you have to increase your trade quality. That's what it's really about. The quality of your trades need to improve. But before we even talk about that, you need to understand this. Now, I've been speaking about this a lot in the Falcon community. We've been going through it in detail. We've seen some phenomenal results, even just from the awareness of this. So I just want you to understand this. Let's think about profitability. If you really pay attention to this, you're going to learn a lot. And towards the end, I have a big announcement towards the end. You're not going to want to miss that. It's about prices. It's about the membership. It's about things that are changing. It's about funding content that's coming. But we'll talk about that towards the end. What you need to know right now is this. So we've got 2 tables. Now, this represents the profitable trader over here. And let's say the unprofitable trader is over there. That could be you. So let's say this is you. You're the unprofitable trader. You're banging your head against a brick wall and you don't know why it keeps happening. Well, firstly, you need to understand, what does a sequence of a profitable trader look like versus an unprofitable sequence. So let's say over here, the profitable trader, they have taken a win, a win, a win, a break even, a loss, and then a win. And then we go to the unprofitable trader, they take win, 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 same sort of thing, right? And then they go loss, 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 and then another loss. And I'm going to explain something in just a second. This is where the slow bleed happens. They might get a break even in here, then a loss, and it usually looks like this. And then the equity curve is usually up like that, which resembles the wins, and then it's like flat line, slow bleed, and it's like this, and then the account's gone. Does this feel familiar to you, where you get off to a good start, and sometimes you might get off to a bad start, then it's good, but then it's bad, and it's like loss, 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 and then you're so close, you're trying to recover your drawdown, and it's done. What you need to understand is these right here, let's say these wins, these ticks, these are the profitable trades. What is the correlation between these trades and these trades right here? What do you think? What comes to mind? What is true over thousands of people that I've worked with now is that these profitable trades and these profitable trades are almost identical, almost virtually the same trades they took. So let's say they took a trade where they had bigger continuation and was looking for like a big sell-off, and they took that, right? The profitable trade that they took here, let's say this is a tiny detail as well. So let's say they took a 12 pip stop and they managed it from here 2.4. Like this person over here, the unprofitable trader, might have managed it for 2.4. They didn't really understand the higher time frame at a higher level. The profitable trader gets out at 4. Like sometimes there's a discrepancy on management where the profitable trader is always naturally going to manage trades a bit better. But fundamentally, the trades, the areas that they're getting in, the concept of the trade, like break of a high, waiting for the liquidity to be taken out and then they get back in, like that concept of taking the trades is exactly the same. Which means is, what is happening in between? What is causing the profitable trader right here, which could be you? What is causing that person to stay out of all of this slow bleed, all of the unnecessary losses? And you see here this break even. Do you know what another example correlation is? The break even that the profitable trader took, guess what? That'll be a loss for the unprofitable trader, because they will be running in a trade where, again, same sort of concept. Let's say they're taking a trade like this. They'll be running in a trade. They'll have a break of a low. It'll be a sharp move back up and you'll get a clear signal, right? You kind of need to be at break even at this point. But because it hasn't got to technically 1% and it gets to, let's say, 0.9%, they'll go, well, it didn't get to 1%. It'll retrace the whole move and they'll still live in hope. And this is where they're not emotionally stable. They don't know how to manage their emotions as a whole. So they'll take that as a -1. The profitable trader knows when to cut their losses and go, right, time to get out, break even, risk off, done. There's a break even. Well, what's the problem with that? Well, then now what you've got is you've got the damaged psychology of a trade that the unprofitable trader realizes very quickly, that should not have been a loss. That should have just been a break even. And then your mind would have been intact to go, right, let's move on to the next trade. And then you let the sequence play out where, again, like you think, because you have to understand what profitability looks like. And for those of you from afar that have been thinking for ages that, oh, I'm only going to get profitable when my technicals are better. Listen, the high quality bread and butter trades that profitable traders take, unprofitable traders also take them. It's what you got to get to the root of what is causing the equity curve to look like this, what is happening in between. But this is the first framing of like, right, why is that important you frame it like this? Well, imagine right now you're someone who thinks that in order for you to become profitable, you've now got to be a certain type of individual, or you need this trait that you don't have, or that profitable trader is so profitable they take completely different trades to me. You're going to have no confidence. You're going to be thinking that, yeah, there's something special and I'm not, which that's false. This is not even just this makes you feel good. This is the truth. You just look at the journals. The profitable trades, they're virtually identical. It's just, what is that unprofitable trader doing in between? Well, they probably have a lack of emotional control. So you see they jump into the market, they FOMO, they have the fear of being wrong, they hesitate more. Like, they've got a lot of emotional issues they need to work on. So the inner work, like, that needs to be put in. That's a given. But it's the technical proficiency. They're just not good enough technically yet. And that's absolutely fine. They've just got work to do. That's normal. Every single one of us sucked at technicals. But you improved, you got better. And as you could bridge the gap by being more technically equipped, and you worked on your mind, say good emotional regulation, you was good. You start to see profitability. It swings in. So that's the framing of it. But what I want to show you now is exactly what you need to focus on to make the most amount of money over these next 90 days. So this is a really quick lesson, and consider this a rare gem that I'm sharing this for free on YouTube. Now, do with it what you will, but this could change the game. And if you want to learn more detail, all of the intricacies, you know where we are. I highly recommend you get involved, because by the 28th of October, the price of the membership is going up indefinitely. So just a little bit of a heads up. We're letting you know as early ahead of time for you to do what you need to do. But if you want to lock in the legacy price, it's going up, and there's so many things changing for funding, new content coming up. It's very, very important. And the reason as to why, which I'll probably do a video at a later stage about this, we've hit 10 mil on our in-house fund. We're even higher than that now. Our priority and focus is going to be on making sure that we now scale that to 20 million, 30 million We need the best of the best. We need the committed minds, and we just want to put more time and attention. And I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year we've closed the doors completely, because our focus and energy is going to be on the people that really want to make this happen. So that's where our priority is going to be. And I fundamentally believe that is why we're going to hit completely different levels. But for those of you that so we would like as many of you involved as possible, but for those of you from afar, I would definitely take advantage of this. So check this out. So this is on Kiwi dollar, and you can go and test this on lots of different ranges. So I want your eyes to gravitate towards where the key value areas are. So how are you going to be really profitable over this last 90 days? Well, you need to look at where the value areas are, where are the bigger players stepping into the market, and what is a common behavior that I can look at and take advantage of. Now, for the very first time on YouTube, I'm sharing something called a background position. Now, a background position does require a little bit more time, but I'm going to do my best to give you the short story of it and how you can then do the working outs and, you know, challenge yourself, do some testing. So see this framing, and you see this a lot. Now, it's not always going to be in every single market, but it is present on higher time frame into lower time frame. So ideally you want a higher time frame narrative on this, and you can see how I'm building it. So notice how you've got a lot of volume at the top. You can see that high gets broken. What I want you to do is I want you to fib from the top to the bottom, and you're going to get 90%. This is going to be your background move. And then I'm also going to show you it on here. So again, establish where the volume is. That's going to be your background move. And then we're going to do it again. That's going to be your from high to low. That's going to be your background move. Showing that these type of ranges, if you understand what this is, so that one piece, this one piece, and this one piece, they're all very unique sections. And once you understand what they all mean, you'll realize that there is a 90% probability it will hit 90% of its range. Hence the reason for, you know, the background move. It's phenomenal, right? And we use it for a lot in management. So we will get out, and this is in the mechanics that we get out at if you want to take profit, if you don't want to trail your stop, because you can trail your stop with how we do things. Sometimes people just want to be in and out for a 3-to-1. They use a mechanical management, so they do it on a micro range of this. These are, of course, much bigger moves. But you imagine that you're able to set your position, leave it alone. Now, depending on what prop firm you're using, you may not be able to do this, but you can do it on your personal account, so you could grow that over the next 90 days. But let's say, for example, you're running this at 90%, it's roughly here. There's your 4.3. Let's say you're doing it again, roughly here. And I'm going quite wide with stop just to be like for the conservative side. You can get way tighter on this. And then here, you would crop through that anyway, but 90% of that, 6.7. So listen, bearing in mind, most people struggle to be profitable. And you might go, oh, that's a big move for only 4% or 8% or 6%. Yeah, but you're unprofitable. So it doesn't even matter, does it? Like, this is going to help you. But what is going to help you more over these next 90 days to be profitable, and this is the point I wanted to teach you, is that when you start running these higher time frame positions, if you like, playing the bigger picture, you tend to find the trader's behavior changes. And what I mean by that is they stop trying to scalp. Let's be honest. Scalping is a mug's game. There's only a very small percentage of people that can do it. So it's like, are you going to base your trading on a 0.01% person that can pull it off? Like, there's very, very few people, and the people that are, it's so intricate and it's so unique. The chance of you trying to replicate that individual is like, again, 0.5%. So it's like, why would you do that? It's a difference between, oh yeah, but it's possible, but I saw someone on a podcast to do this. I saw this ex-institutional trader and he said that scalping's a thing. Again, you're getting confused with exceptions. Don't define the rule. They do not define the average. If anything, you should move further away from it, the fact that it is an exception in and of itself. If you try to be the anomaly, if you try to be the outlier, you'll find yourself really disappointed. I prefer personally to go with just what's consistent. What is something that the average person can replicate if they put in the hours, versus trying to find these ultra niche things, trying to be in and out within 15 minutes. Like, yeah, there are people that do it. Of course there is. People that make loads of money doing it. But it's like, has that worked for you? And chances are you've been trying to do it for years and you've blown too many fund accounts to keep going down that path. So it's like, at what point do you need to go, I need a sustainable system. I need something that's dynamic. I do not want to be glued to just one instrument, because I've tried that and clearly I'm not doing well. Well, how much longer can you endure that pain until you realize, push comes to shove, I've got to get my shit together. You know, I need to be involved in a fund. I think, you know, for example, our in-house fund, why do you think we do it? So For these next 90 days, I want you to also think about your trading career as like, how do you want to step into 2026? Would you like a repeat of this year? Do you want to just rely on the fact that you have to wait until the whole 75% of the year to just double down in the last quarter? Or do you want to be around people that's going to push you to do that every single month, every single quarter? How much further ahead would you be then? Food for thought. But anyway, to my point, if you play these ranges and you do them well, and then you learn how to scale into the runs of them, I'm telling you, your profitability will go through the roof. And this is what we're going to be focusing on. So myself and the community, we're going to be, if you actually look very, very quickly, I was doing a lesson earlier, hence the extra pairs here. If you understand where we're positioned, even just like on the DXY after these bigger runs and what's going to happen next, there's going to be a lot of ranges whilst the DXY ranges. And this is a part that most people don't understand. So I'm going to be doing a special section on a webinar next week on this. So definitely make sure that you get involved so you can attend that webinar. It'll be on our live session, and it's going to give you so much clarity to how you're going to manage those positions. So when I talk about 90% of that run, that's going to be massive for you. But I'm telling you now, this is a very unique time. Q4 is historically the most profitable quarter for a reason. So I really hope you enjoyed that. There's a lot of value in this episode. And if you are serious about learning to trade or wanting to get involved in everything that we're doing with our fund and everything else that goes with our infrastructure, link in the description. We would love to have you involved, especially before the price increase. We want to make sure that you get the absolute best price possible. We are adding an entire new suite of funding content. This is going to be how you can maximize prop firms, how to use specific prop firms in a certain way, which ones that you should be taking small amount of profit, which ones that you should prioritize more, how you should stack them. Essentially, what is the grand plan to build your empire with prop firms, and how you can recycle that money back into more to get you to a position that you're trading the most amount of money you're ever traded, but more importantly, the processes, the resources that you should be doing to maximize it and keep it. So we're going to be talking about that at scale. This is going to be incredible content. There's a new piece of material, I would say, that I'm going to be doing as well that I've never shared before, and I've never done this in the pretty much 9 years of the Falcon project. That's going to be a game changer for, again, pushing people to be better and better with technicals, live environments. I'm not going to leak anything else, but I'm telling you now, this next phase, this final stretch of the year, is going to be so intense for us. We just want winners. We just want committed people, and we're going to be giving so much more over these next 90 days. We want to make sure that you finish the year as strong as possible. So if you resonate with that, get yourself involved. You know exactly where we are. This is going to be a monster of a Q4. Just don't let the last 90 days be another version of what you've done every single year. Get to December and sit there with your head in your hands going, I've done it again, repeat the same behavior, same mistakes. I'm just the same person. Like, yeah, you have a chance now. If this was the last 30 days of the year, I'd be saying not really much hope. As in, your best hope now, your best move is to plan for next year, figure out what you've done badly, and make sure that you don't repeat it again. It's crazy to think, after all these years, had I not written down Falcon in that journal and mapped out the bigger vision, none of this would be possible. Wouldn't be building a fund up to 100 million. It still blows my mind. Sometimes I need to pinch myself and think, just that thought and intention that you just write down on a bit of paper with a big why, almost an unstoppable force that you'll just do whatever it takes to get to that goal. How's it going? Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Yeah. Well, lots of sacrifices, lots of things that we're doing behind the scenes, the things that we have to operate on. So the people that think they can get away with it, I've met so many of these people on IG that have authentically made 100 grand from high risk, and they go, Mark, now I want to learn. I'm like, oh, interesting. I don't hear of them. They lose the money and go into debt. The bigger picture, the day-to-day operation of all of that, you've got to trade in between. There's multiple different hats that personally I have to put on, but also be that source of energy for people. Because look, sometimes people are going through some stuff and they don't know how to navigate that. So to be that pillar of strength for them, they know they can lean on us and we actually care about them succeeding. That for me is the bigger thing. You know, some of the strongest habits can be built in 90 days. So you have the habit window time frame as well, where you can build really good habits that's going to help you become profitable. You can build habits with money, you can build habits with relationships. There's so many things you could do in 90 days, it's crazy. And especially you have enough time to scale up in capital. So let's make sure you finish the year as strong as possible, but you're also making the most money and you've had those withdrawals that you've been actually working towards, but you do it in a way you know it's replicatable. That's the key. So let's crush it. It's going to be a big 3 months.